Something interesting is happening with Slate, and if you've been following the reveal closely, you already know this vehicle is sparking more questions than answers. That's exactly why this update matters. This isn't a walkthrough or a hype piece. It's a clear-eyed look at what we've learned since the reveal, what's been quietly confirmed, what's still uncertain, and why some of Slate's decisions make a lot more sense once you zoom out. Let's start with the question almost everyone asked first. One of the earliest points of discussion after the reveal was Slate's battery choice, specifically why Slate opted for nickel-based battery chemistry instead of lithium iron phosphate, which has become increasingly popular in electric vehicles. The answer comes down to one word: location. Slate is using nickel-manganese-cobalt battery chemistry because they want batteries manufactured in the United States that qualify for federal EV tax credits. While lithium iron phosphate batteries are known for durability and cost efficiency, there simply isn't a strong domestic supply of them yet. That's a sore point for many EV enthusiasts, especially when you look at how far ahead China is in LFP development. Entire vehicle lineups overseas run on LFP packs, while Western manufacturers largely committed themselves years ago to nickel-based chemistries. That early commitment shaped the supply chain we're dealing with today. A few automakers do offer LFP on select models, but those batteries are still imported, with domestic production remaining a future promise rather than a present reality. For Slate, there just wasn't an American-made LFP option available. What is available is SK On. SK On may not be a household name, but they are one of the largest EV battery manufacturers in the world. They already operate 2 battery plants in Georgia and are finishing up multiple joint venture facilities with major automakers. Their specialty is nickel-manganese-cobalt pouch-style batteries, and those are the cells that will be used in the Slate vehicle. Those battery pouches are assembled into a larger pack that ultimately gets installed into the truck. For the standard configuration, Slate comes with a 53 kilowatt-hour battery. If you want more range, Slate doesn't swap out the pack. Instead, they add an additional 31.6 kilowatt-hour battery alongside it. This modular approach isn't new. It's common in commercial EVs, where range can be scaled by adding battery blocks. However, given the voltage and weight involved, this isn't something owners will be swapping in and out themselves. It's modular by design, but not user modular. Looking beyond the battery, the underlying structure of the vehicle reveals a lot about Slate's priorities. Up front, the suspension is familiar, a standard McPherson strut setup. In the rear, however, Slate uses a Dadion suspension, which sits somewhere between a solid axle and fully independent suspension. The rear-mounted electric motor drives the wheels through independent axle shafts, while the Dadion tube handles the load. This setup isn't common, but it isn't unheard of either. Even the Ford Ranger EV used a similar configuration. It's a practical choice that balances durability, cost, and packaging efficiency. Underneath the vehicle, the structure itself is especially interesting. Instead of a traditional body-on-frame design like most mid-size and full-size pickups, Slate uses what they describe as a hybrid between a unibody and a frame. This matters because the vehicle is designed to transform. When the pickup is converted into an SUV configuration, a rear bulkhead is removed. To maintain rigidity and safety, a sturdy roll bar becomes a critical structural element. It protects rear passengers while also preserving the vehicle's integrity after that conversion. This is the kind of problem modern engineering tools are built to solve, and it's clear Slate designed the structure with this flexibility in mind from the start. Notably, there are no visible gigacastings in the structure. While large single-piece castings are becoming popular for reducing part counts, they require massive upfront investment in specialized equipment. Slate appears to be intentionally avoiding that expense. Instead, the exterior panels are made from injection-molded polypropylene composite. These panels are bolted onto the structure rather than welded, and they are molded and colored instead of painted. Skipping a paint shop alone saves hundreds of millions of dollars in capital investment. It's a practical decision that aligns perfectly with Slate's low-cost, low-complexity philosophy. Before the reveal, there was speculation that Slate might manufacture near Indianapolis. That speculation turned out to be close, but not quite accurate. Slate will build its vehicles in Warsaw, Indiana, in a facility that previously operated as a printing plant. Rather than building a massive new factory from scratch, Slate is revitalizing an existing site. That decision significantly reduces upfront costs and speeds up the timeline. The factory spans roughly 1.4 million square feet. While it sounds enormous, it's actually about a quarter the size of many traditional auto plants. Despite its smaller footprint, Slate expects to create around 2,000 direct jobs once production ramps up in late 2026. That's 4 times the employment the facility supported in its previous role. This lean manufacturing approach reinforces the idea that Slate is trying to do more with less, without overbuilding infrastructure before demand is proven. One story that briefly surfaced involved a possible relationship with a supplier known primarily for commercial EV technology. The rumor, sourced anonymously, suggested Slate might be using their systems. The company's stock price doubled almost overnight. Shortly after, the company issued a statement saying they had no explanation for the stock movement, and nothing was confirmed during the reveal. As of now, there's no verified connection, so this remains firmly in the unconfirmed category. A question that keeps coming up is why Slate chose to launch with a pickup at all. The answer is simpler than it sounds. Pickups are one of the most popular vehicle types in the United States. The only category that sells more consistently is SUVs, and Slate's pickup can become one. In many ways, the vehicle leans closer to a Jeep-style philosophy than a traditional work truck. The rear cap can be removed in sections. The doors are removable as well. Accessories and customization are clearly central to the concept. Pickup and Jeep owners are famously enthusiastic about modifying their vehicles, and that enthusiasm translates directly into revenue. That's the real strategy. The base vehicle is only part of the business. The ecosystem of accessories, kits, upgrades, and configurations is where long-term profitability lives. This is also why Slate avoided body styles that struggle in the US market. Hatchbacks and wagons may be loved elsewhere, but Americans consistently reject them. Slate designed something that fits existing cultural demand while still offering flexibility. Before the reveal, images showing different configurations spread quickly online. Customization is fun, and Slate is leaning hard into that. Planned accessories already include lift kits and lowering kits, signaling that both off-road and street-focused builds are on the table. When asked about the possibility of adding a front motor for four-wheel drive, the answer wasn't a no. That alone is enough to keep speculation alive. The platform appears flexible enough to support it, and the door is clearly open for future expansion. Slate has already scheduled public events in multiple cities, giving people a chance to see the vehicle up close. These appearances suggest confidence and a desire to build momentum well ahead of production. The final piece of the puzzle is the broader EV market itself. Federal EV tax credits still exist for now, both for new and used vehicles. However, ongoing budget negotiations and tax reform efforts make it increasingly likely that consumer credits could disappear before Slate officially launches. There's also discussion of a potential annual federal tax on EVs to help fund road maintenance, since gas taxes haven't increased in decades. Whether that happens or not, it's clear the policy landscape is shifting, and Slate's timing will matter. That's where things stand after the reveal. Slate is taking a pragmatic, cost-conscious approach while leaving room to evolve. The decisions they've made so far paint a picture of a company trying to survive long enough to scale, not one betting everything on hype alone. And that's what makes this story worth following.